Welcome, Ruth. Episode, I think, 17 of the Cooldown, and first one with you on it. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. Episode 17 is gonna be the best episode, I think, so far.
Sure. So far, we'll make it quick, but I'm really excited actually to have you kind of joining me this year in telling the women's side of the story of how the races unfold. I think, you know, when I was trying to figure out what partner I wanted to have in this, it was like you and Haley Smith that were like the two that came to mind. And yeah, I'm excited that you said yes to joining on board. And yeah, do you want to let people know a little bit about yourself in case they don't know you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, hi everybody. My name's Ruth. I am part of the Lifetime Grand Prix this year. I won the U23 version last year. I That was kind of my first year racing gravel. Before that, I'd done a few other things. I spent a lot of time on the mountain bike, kind of racing like the World Cup scene a little bit, just kind of mostly XCO. I raced some road, I raced some track, kind of really all over, and then got the opportunity to be part of the hit squad last year. And yeah, now I race gravel and mountain bike again, and it's pretty awesome. So yeah, back for year two.
Yeah, and what does obviously the hit squad ended at the end of last year, as I stole Keegan away from you guys and brought him over to my team. What does this year look like for you in terms of support? I see you have Kinetic now on your hat, so if you want to go over what that looks like for you.
Yeah, Sophia stole Keegan from us, but that's okay. I still have Tobin, so can't steal Tobin. But Tobin and I are kind of going to keep riding with Santa Cruz this year. It's kind of Gran Velocio, like such a great crew. I've got Kinetic, Never Second. So yeah, it's gonna be a good year. It's kind of a bit of a mix. I'm doing like a little bit more on the mountain bike side, I would say. Like adding in BC Bike Race, Downeyville, kind of some more fun stuff like that, along with doing the Grand Prix series. So yeah, I think Santa Cruz is like really big on the mountain bike stuff this year. But I really wanted to keep the Grand Prix in the schedule, so it's kind of going to be a bit of a mix. But I'm really excited to like throw some mountain bike stuff back in there, and yeah, you'll see Tobin and I around. It'll be great. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Is BC Bike Race back in like Vancouver area? Because I know for a while they like moved inland and then now they're like changing the format too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. It's the last BC bike race, I believe, and they've moved the date, and I think it's on the island this year. I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's on Vancouver Island this year. So, I've like heard really good things about the riding out there, so I'm excited to go check it out. But yeah, it's not a partner race anymore. It's just like individual, and yeah, last ever BC bike race. Really had to. It's kind of been like my dream race, so I'm really excited to be up
Yeah.
there for that.
No, I'm jealous. That's always been like my bucket list race and just area to go ride in. Like I have yet to ride in Bellingham, have never really been to like BC and just all those like really cool places to ride mountain bikes. And yeah, BC Bike Race was always on the bucket list. And I think the promoter even like offered Keegan and I an entry like after getting engaged as like a future honeymoon thing or something. And yeah, super bummed that the format as it is kind of going away. But yeah, be excited to see you and watch you race that one because it should be a really good race for you actually. So
For sure. Yeah, it's a bummer it's going away. Like, I think it's right before Unbound this year, so it wouldn't really work for you anyway, but I think it'd be cool if Lifetime, like, added in, like, some sort of, like, mountain bike stage race into the Grand Prix at some point. Like, I feel like that would kind of go really well, but I don't know.
yeah, the gravel people hate to hear that.
Yeah,
They're
they
like,
do
please
hate to hear
no.
that for sure. They're like, no, no, no,
little
no.
little sugar and Sea Otter as a mountain bike race is like traumatizing enough for them, you
Yeah,
know?
for real.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll keep it
yeah.
to the Schwamigan grass, and they can suffer a little sugar, I guess.
Yeah. So as you won the U23, the inaugural U23 year last year, which was it was pretty cool actually. They had you guys racing Sea Otter with us. Then you did the 100 at Unbound, which I thought that was a really good thing for them to do instead of sending all these 17 to 22 years old to like try to do the 200. You do have to race Leadville, which I think it's really hard. And then you did Schwamigan. That's a pretty short one. Little Sugar, which you had a great race in. Had it not been for flats, I think Keegan and I had money on if you would make it in the top five or not. And yeah, we're like, I think this could be Ruth's podium, but unfortunately, that place is notorious for equipment failure and just, those rocks are exceptionally sharp. And then you also had a really good Little Sugar, which was the 100, got taken down to the 50 due to weather. And I remember, I think it was in the first like hour and a half, you were like right up there. Like I would always look back and I'm like, oh, Ruth is like either right behind me or you're always right in front of me. And I was like, I think she can have a good day. And again, I think that was another one that kind of got you with mechanicals. Um,
Yeah, I think I remember like mile 17, Keegan was like, okay, I think like that's the creek crossing. You got to be with Sophia when you go through the creek. And I see you just like sprint ahead into the creek, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go. The creek didn't go super well for me, but yeah, but it was great until that point. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I do
Um,
remember. Yeah, because you come into this, like, was this pretty big ditch, and then at the bottom, it pretty hard compression into a lot of rocks. And I think Ellen Campbell had attacked right before, so she had a bit of a gap, and I was working on closing it on the downhill. But then a moto, like, didn't realize that that was happening, and they like get stalled at the bottom, and I like come within like 4 inches of like hitting them before I like shoot
oh
up the
my
hill,
God.
and I was like, oh man, it's like this is gonna be chaos. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I was like a few wheels back, and there was like girls just everywhere. So I'm sure I mean, I don't know what it looked like behind me, but yeah, I think it was just a mess for
yeah.
sure.
So with winning the Grand Prix U23, it meant that you had an automatic entry into the Grand Prix, which for a while there, I think was the only confirmed entry. I think it wasn't until maybe the last two races that the Lifetime was like, oh, yeah, if you're in the top five of the overall of the Grand Prix in the elite field, you also get an automatic in. How did that feel for you knowing that you didn't really have to apply? You didn't have to wait and just knew you if you wanted to participate, you had that entry.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I think the whole U23 like program is really cool. I think it like kind of opens a lot of doors for a lot of like younger riders that like maybe weren't quite like making it in the XCO scene or the road scene or something, or like they just like really love endurance racing. So I think, and like that's me included, like I kind of had a tough time my first couple years as a U23 racing XCO, and I came to like gravel and like ended up being pretty good at it. And I thought it was really awesome that they kind of like gave us that opportunity. And I think going into it, I was like, oh, I'm gonna win this. And it ended up being harder than I thought for sure. Like I think just like switching to the line and like all of that was like pretty tricky for me. But yeah, definitely like once I kind of started to figure it out and started like winning U23 races and getting to that point of like, oh, like I have a Grand Prix spot next year, was really awesome. And especially going into Big Sugar, because I kind of was like, I have nothing to lose at this point. Like I could get dead last in the U23 field and I still have a spot in the Grand Prix next year. And so I think that was really cool because I could just go and like not even try and like race the other U23s, just like I want to try and win this. So it was really cool going into that. And really nice not have to wait for everything to come out, especially because I think this year was pretty competitive. Like there's definitely a lot of names that like could have been on it, could have not made it, and like same goes for the other way. And so it was really nice to just be like, yeah, I'm on that list. Like good luck everybody. So that was
Yeah.
super nice for sure.
Yeah, for me, I debated a long time actually if I was going to sign back up for the Grand Prix. And actually, like before they released their rules and new prize money and all of that stuff, I was dead set on not doing the Grand Prix, like to the point that by winning Big Sugar, like if you were on the overall podium of Big Sugar, they gave you a gold coin for Unbound, which means you don't have to go into the lottery. You just get to sign up right away. But you have to sign up for Unbound, pay ridiculous entry fee like within a week of like getting that gold coin. So like, you know, we get the Matt and I get the gold coins. I go back to the house. I'm like, gotta sign up for Unbound. We don't have to go into a lottery. Like, we're not doing the Grand Prix. Like, this is, you know, like we're at least in for Unbound. Don't have to worry about the politics that come into sometimes trying to get into that race. And, you know, a week later goes by and then the prize purse comes out. And I'm like, oh, like they
Oh.
put in a lot more money into this Grand Prix. You know, it went from, you know, you could win, I think it's been as high as 30K. I think last year might have been 20 or 25K. And now it's like $50,000 to win. And like second place is 33K and so on. So um I like debated it for a while. I remember like the day of my wedding, because my coach was part of like my bride's party. We just sat outside and like really had a long conversation of like, do I sign up for this? Like, do I have like with the goals that I have set, is this something I want to do? And I was like, well, I know I'm going to race Sea Otter. I know I'm going to race Unbound. You know, I probably will do Leadville because Keegan's gonna do Leadville, and I'll probably do Big Sugar because it's an important one for the brand. So I signed up, I think like the day before it closed, and I remember getting a text from Chemo saying like, took you long enough to sign up or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I was like, and I told him, I was like, honestly, like I am still not sure if I'm going to drop out before the first race of the season. And I've even still had those thoughts of like, like, do I want to do the Grand Prix again? And basically what I've come up with my coach is we've decided, okay, we're signing up for the Grand Prix, but a title defense is not what I'm focusing on, which I think it's something that's going to surprise a lot of people because I have had so much success in the series and the prize purse is so big. But I think I'm at a point in my career where to win the Lifetime Grand Prix again, it's not a goal that motivates me. It's not a goal that helps me give that extra percent out when I'm doing my like VO2 workouts. And I wanted to, I think in order to win the Grand Prix, you have to be averagely good all year. And I really want to focus on having like 2 or 3 days that I just want to be an exceptional athlete and try to go all in for peak performances at certain races. Um, and unfortunately, that means that I'm not going to do a proper, you know, altitude prep for Leadville, which I'm really curious how that's going to go. Uh, but then I was like, well, if I was sick last year and I got like fifth or fourth at the end, I was like, I think I could survive it. But I think for me, what I will define a good Grand Prix season is going to be getting in the top five. Um, but yeah, how about you? What are your goals? Or like, do you have specific races you're looking at? Or I know I think you said you're going to skip Unbound because of BC Bike Race. So what are the things that are going in your head as we are like a week away from race day?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of the way you said it sums it up perfectly of like you can either be like consistently decently good the whole season or you can be really good a couple times. And I think for me looking at the whole season, there's definitely some races that stand out as like, oh, I could like this is like a really good race for me and I could be really good here. And then there's some other ones that I'm like I'm just gonna do it because like I have to do it. Like that's part of the Grand Prix. And so I think on one side, like on one end, I'm still in school right now. I'm in my last quarter of college, so I'm kind of finishing up like all the courses that I've put off for the past like 5 years now. Of like, oh, that one's really hard. Like I don't want to miss. I don't want to have to like miss a race to like do school. So I'm kind of taking those classes right now of like, I really have to be in school, which has like changed
And
things a little bit.
and your major, it's
So
like a pretty big major, right? Is it chemistry or is it
yeah, I'm a chemistry major. So yeah, I mean, I have like I'm in two labs that are like they meet twice, 4 hours, twice a week. So it's just like lab on lab on lab. So I just spend a lot of time doing school right now. So I think when I look at the season, maybe a little different from you where you're like, oh, like I want to target this race to win. I'm like, yeah, like I'd love to be decent going into the season of like just have consistent Sea Otter. And then for me, the next race that I'll do in the Grand Prix isn't until Leadville. And so I think for me, it is more just targeting the back half of the season in general. So Leadville, Schwamigan, like is a really good race for me coming from kind of the XCO background. Little Sugar is also a really good race for me. So I think for me, kind of the mountain bike stuff and then just like being patient, kind of like continuing to build that fitness with like all the school I have going on. So yeah, I think it is like my first year in the Elite Grand Prix, but I like definitely want to show that like I didn't just get the spot because like I won the U23, like I also deserve to be in the Grand Prix. So I think some like overall consistency, but really targeting the back half of the season for me for sure.
Yeah. Is there a certain result that you're targeting, or is there like I guess I think of myself like when I'm out there training and you're doing like a really hard VO2 session and you're like, okay, put yourself, this is like, the last hill at Unbound, or it's, this climb at Traka, or like I always mentally put myself in the scenario that I'm racing for the races that I'm targeting. Is there one race in particular that you're gonna target that you're like, this is mine?
Um, I'd say I haven't like fully put together like, oh, this is the race I want. But to be honest, like Little Sugar last year, I was riding. I think I was like Michaela and I were like riding third and fourth, and like I was feeling amazing. And then like I flatted, and then Melissa and I like chased back up, and then I like flatted again, and then I dropped like 5 gels, which was like my fuel for the like last 2 hours of the race. And so I think I just was like so close to having like the best day ever there, or like my best day so far. And so for me, like I look at this season, I'm like I really would love to go back and like be on a podium there, be on a podium at Schwamigan. I also think like last year I just kind of missed the group on that one a little bit, and now that I know how to race it, so I think just kind of from like I was so close at that one last year. Like those are the two that I'm really looking at. Um, but like honestly, like I just think the level in the Grand Prix keeps going up, and so for me, I just like really want to like be consistently kind of in that like top 15 to top 10 at least for the first few races. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
just, like build from there.
Yeah, and the crazy thing too is normally there's 3 wild card spots. Right now in the women's field, we have 4th because of Sarah being out for
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy. So it's also really interesting when you're racing and you're having to think about Grand Prix points and like, okay, like this person is in front of me and they're a wild card, but you don't know yet if their points are going to count or not because they have to wait till after Unbound. So that was like one of the big reasons why I didn't want to sign up for the Grand Prix was because I felt like I was always racing with the point numbers happening inside my head and being like, okay, like if I get second today, it means I'm tied for the Grand Prix lead. Or like if I, have to like put Skarta between Cecily and I at Schwamigan, like that's gonna really help me. So like I kind of can't go again because I'm gonna drop Skarta. I think I can drop Skarta, and if I bring Decker, like it makes a really
Yeah.
interesting way of racing. And last year when the prize money for the overall was a little bit less and you had big payout at each race, it kind of incentivized like, hey, go big for the races. But now it's a lot of money for the overall, a lot of money for a race like Unbound and Leadville, and then the standard 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 at the other Grand Prix races. So I'm really curious to see how it's going to go. I think there's a lot of more Europeans coming over. Um, and me having gone to go race them in February, even though it was like a month and a half ago, like it's a little less nerve wracking because you kind of know where they were at 6 weeks ago, and then you know what progress you've made off the bike and on the bike as well. So I think I'm really looking forward to Sea Otter. It's going to be live broadcasted this time, like Leadville and Unbound were last year. So I think it's gonna be a pretty fun kickoff for the year.
For sure. Yeah, I was just gonna say like it does seem like there's a lot more like international presence, and um I mean you've already been killing it against them like overseas as well, but are there any other like races that aren't the Grand Prix that are like super big for you coming up?
Yeah, I think I mean UCI Gravel Worlds actually is one that we're really trying to target. So that's another reason I'm not focusing on the Grand Prix is because I will guaranteed have a 0 at Little Sugar. So I can't wait to watch how you're gonna do there. And then to fly from Australia all the way to Bentonville is like insane.
Oh
It's
wow.
like you fly from Perth to like Japan and then Japan to Denver, Denver, Arkansas. So
Wow.
to do that travel and like try to race hard again for the last round of the Grand Prix is just I know I'm asking my body a little bit too much. So
And
um
I'm sure by that point you will just race gravel worlds and you'll be like, "Yay, I'm like ready to be done."
yeah, although Keegan really wants to go race gravel burn in South
Oh
Africa.
wow.
So
Mhm.
I'm like, are we really gonna do US, Australia, back to the US to South Africa? But I'm like,
Wow.
well, yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, if you go, then maybe I go and then we like honeymoon somewhere down there after or something. But yeah, like the
That could be
back
awesome.
yeah, the back half of the season is still pretty stacked for me. And then earlier this season, I'll have like the trying to defend my Traka 200 as a pretty like decent goal, just because I went there last year trying to get a feel for the race and I ended up winning it. And I was like, okay, like if now that I kind of know what it is, I raced part of the course at Santa Vi earlier this year. I think, um, yeah, I'm excited to go back to that one and just feel like I kind of know where I'm at and how the race plays out rather than just like, let's just go until I blow up or maybe like, hit a rock really hard because I'm descending at a speed that I shouldn't be because I don't know what's coming?
For sure, for
But
sure.
yeah, awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. Is there anything
Well,
else that you want to talk about or anything before we see each other next week?
man, I don't think so. I mean, we covered it pretty good. I think I'm excited to be at Sea Otter, race with you, talk about it. I think we have very different we're in very different places in the peloton. I mean, sometimes we're in the same place, but just like I'm excited to like talk about the race and kind of see like, oh yeah, well I just watched you attack on that hill and was like, oh no, that's where I need to be, and you'll be like, oh well, I've been thinking about this for miles and this is where I needed to attack, and I think it'll be really interesting. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like a different perception too of like how we watch things unfold. Like I think I'm a pretty analytical person and like I'm like, oh, I think I know what's happening around me, or at least I tell myself that I do, and then I'll talk to somebody else and I'm like, oh, like that is not what I thought was happening there? Um,
For sure.
but yeah, but I'm excited. So thanks again for hopping on for a little quick catch up. And yeah, we'll see you next week at Sea Otter.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's gonna be great.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop now and we'll see.